everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for your weekly wrap-up. I'm burning the midnight oil and trying to get some videos done before I head out to NAB and new Media Expo tomorrow afternoon. So we got a lot to cover, so let's get right to it. I first want to thank Remco Menegot, who is our latest Patreon supporter. He contributed to the channel last week, and I want to thank Remco and everyone who has been sticking around on that Patreon page. It is greatly appreciated, and I'll talk more about ways you can help the channel at the end of the video. So I also wanted to point out something really cool that one of our viewers is doing. His name is Elias Saba, and he bought the Amazon Fire TV that I reviewed a couple months ago, and got into it so much that he launched a website that is really pretty popular among Amazon Fire TV users, and you can find it at aftnews.com. So definitely check it out. He's got a great website. It really covers the Amazon Fire TV in detail, and I suggest strongly that you check out what he's doing, especially if you have an interest in pushing that device further than you might think it can go. He's really got some great stuff on there. I think he can be a big help. So some big news this week, the new Intel Compute Stick. I don't yet have it, but it is available for pre-order at Newegg, and some specs have been released as a result of it also. So there are two versions you'll be able to buy. The first has 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, an Atom Z3735F, which is, I think, the same processor that's on most of the tablets and some of the other lower-end devices that we looked at, including the Migo Pad, which is a similar computer on a stick device. And it costs $149, but it has a fully licensed version of Windows 8.1 on board. So it is a full, ready-to-run, out-of-the-box Windows PC without having to buy anything else. It'll probably perform about where we've seen our other devices perform at, but we'll put it through its paces once it comes in. I have pre-ordered it, so we'll definitely check that out. But there's also another version they're going to have available with just a gig of RAM and 8 gigabytes of storage for $109, and that's got the same processor and will be running on Linux. So I think you might see that as something used for more of an embedded environment or something where you wanted to run a kiosk or something like that. So there's a Windows version and a Linux version, and when it comes in, we will certainly put it through its paces on the channel as it gets here. So I am leaving for tomorrow afternoon for a new Media Expo and NAB. They're combined shows this year, so I've got a bunch of stuff that I've been working on tonight ahead of that show. I'm going to be looking at NAB for things that will appeal to independent creators, so inexpensive production gear. If I can find any there, I'm going to try to cover it sort of like what I did at CES, but I only have a day on the NAB show floor, so I don't have as much time to really go around and do everything that I did at CES. So I'm going to try to get a couple of things looked at, but I'm not sure what I'm going to come up with. So no promises, but if I find anything really unique and interesting that is a good tool for independent creators and doesn't cost all that much money, I will definitely try to profile it. I do have a meeting set up with the folks from NewTek who make the TriCaster, so I'm eager to see some of the things that they might be announcing at the show, so stay tuned for that. I also have the new MacBook on order, and I think it will be here when I get back. So look for a review probably Friday or Saturday of next week on the new MacBook, which is running the new Core M processor, very similar to the device that we looked at from Asus a week ago. So we'll see how this performs, because it really costs twice as much, and hopefully we'll see some better performance out of it for the price. Now I'm also getting in something really neat. This is from Acer. I hadn't even seen this. I didn't see this at CES either. This is a convertible tablet computer that looks very similar to the Microsoft Surface in some ways, except it's got a keyboard that kind of latches on and can be used like a laptop. So what you're seeing here, I have a couple different views I can show you. So the keyboard can detach, and then you can fold it down like you would the Microsoft Surface. So it's very similar in that regard to that, but I think it's going to be a little bit more rigid when everything is connected. The only thing that's kind of weird though is the monitor, the screen, when the thing is propped up, kind of sits in the middle of the device. So it looks a little bizarre. So we'll see how this pans out. But this is running with the Core M processor, the same processor that is in that Asus UX305 that we looked at, as well as the new MacBook, of course. But this one is more of a tablet than it is a laptop, but it can be used as a laptop when you have the keyboard attached to it. So really neat concept. I'm really eager to check it out. It's got a 12-inch 1080p display, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gig SSD for $699. So it does cost more than the Asus, same as the Asus, but it has half the RAM and half the storage. So the Asus is still a better value, but again, this is a tablet with a touch screen, which the Asus is not. So there's always different compromises that people make when they're putting these things together. But it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to checking this out. Hopefully I'll be getting that in next week. In my garage right now is this huge box from Lenovo. This is sorry for the lousy image. But this is an all-in-one with a little detachable PC on the back. So I guess you can pull out the PC and work on it, change the hard drive or whatever, and then plop it back on there. So it's kind of an all-in-one that doesn't have some of the limitations of other all-in-ones, in that you can't really get at the hardware when you need to. So this one has the whole computer on a little box that sits on the back of the monitor. I'm really interested to see how this might be better than just buying a monitor with VESA mounts and attaching like an Intel NUC or something to the back of it. It's kind of the same concept, but we'll see how it works as an integrated solution there. Now, if you want to help the channel, you can go to Lon.TV/Patreon and make a monthly contribution, or you can contribute to YouTube fan funding at Lon.TV. All of those funds are going into buying things that I review on the channel. So not everything gets sent to me or loaned to me by manufacturers. Some of it I end up buying, and this helps offset the losses that I take when I buy those items new, review them, and then sell them as used items. And of course, some of those used items show up on my store at Lon.TV/store at a discount, and they're pretty much brand new. I haven't really had them all that long. I definitely want to keep the engagement going, so don't forget we've got email lists at Lon.TV/email. You can go to my Facebook page at Lon.TV/Facebook, and you can communicate with me and other fans of the show at Lon.TV/forum. So lots of different ways to connect with me. And that will do it for this week's weekly wrap up. I am off to Las Vegas for a couple of days, and I'll see you all when I get back. Thanks for watching.